super excited for this too. A little bit about me. I've written for a lot of SEO blogs, spoken at conferences all over the world. I've judged all kinds of awards. This is actually my very first time talking about affiliate marketing, which is interesting because a lot of people don't know that I do a lot of affiliate marketing. Just publicly, I'm more known as a technical SEO. This was my first time looking at the travel niche, so I'm excited to share kind of what I found and some of my personal processes for going through and trying to determine what kind of content I need. Like, can I compete? Will I be successful if I compete in these niches? Again, travel is new to me. I actually do a lot with like scrapbooking, like doomsday prepping, scientific test equipment, some high-end microscopes and that kind of thing. This is the traditional way of doing keyword research. You start, you're like, do competing sites, do they have a lot of, you pick a keyword, you're like, okay, who ranks? Do they have a lot of links? Are they getting a decent amount of traffic? You know, are the pages talking about just one thing or many things? And you go through a giant list of keywords. It's very time consuming. You're just trying to find like that one keyword to see, will I be successful if I go after this or not? I have a different process for this, which I'm going to share with you all, because this can be really, really time consuming, and everyone's looking for that one golden keyword that no one else is targeting, and you'll rarely ever find it. You'll spend hours, days, weeks doing this research and then just not. You're like, I don't know if I can compete. And it's analysis or paralysis by analysis. You'll spend more time thinking, can I do this? Can I make this work? Than you will actually just doing the thing. And what I've always found is like, you just need to go pick something and go with it. So everyone's looking for that one keyword, and making tons of content, but 90.63% of pages receive no organic search traffic from Google. This is based on a big study we did at Ahrefs. And, you know, it's scary. People make all this content. There are, you know, literally billions of pages going out on the web every single day that just never get seen by anyone. They never get any traffic from search engines. So what I like to do is just go ahead and look at what is successful for my competitors. Who else in the travel space is doing well? Like, how are they getting their traffic? So this is actually my personal process for this. It is using Ahrefs. Before I even worked at Ahrefs, I was actually at IBM for about 4 years. I had an agency before that and had my own consulting business even before that. So I've been doing this a long time. But I've been using Ahrefs since probably 2014. And this is literally what I do. I pick a site. So in this case, I chose booking.com. It's a site I personally use. So I was kind of curious what kind of content was driving to Booking. And in what we have a tool called Site Explorer, you can basically look up the backlinks for any domain. So this is backlinks for booking.com. And you can filter further to include either an equal sign or a question mark. Now, the point of this is to find parameters, because every affiliate link is going to be tagged with some kind of parameter to say, like, this is where this traffic came from. This is the site that linked over. So with Booking, it was super easy to identify their public parameter. Everything was question AID equals. Which is probably affiliate ID. So these are the different websites and basically their IDs that link over to Booking, that are driving traffic to Booking. But what that means is I'm seeing the affiliates. These are tagged links linking over there. These are the affiliate sites. So if I sort that by traffic, I then can see literally the most successful affiliate websites that are linking to Booking. Now, these are the public affiliate sites. I will make that clear. A lot of people will mask their URLs. They will go through third-party networks like travel payouts. Their links wouldn't show because they block crawlers. But you can check those too. So this is actually how I checked for travel payouts in particular. I don't know what other travel like conglomerates are out there. I'm sure there's a few, but travel payouts is the best. Yay. So what I found is that they use kind of the same style for all their formats. So it's like C and then a number.travelpayouts.com, and each of those kind of corresponds to a different website. So C84 is the one I found, that's booking.com. So basically people link to C84.travelpayouts.com, that redirects to Booking. We don't see that in Ahrefs because we're not allowed to follow that link from C84.travelpayouts.com to Booking.com, but we can still see the links to C84.travelpayouts.com, if that makes sense. So again, this is just another way to find even more content that's being created that is driving to the website. Every single network is going to have something similar to this. So you can kind of get all the different content, export it all, combine the data, and see the most trafficked affiliate content within the niche, or for a particular site in this case. So I could do this for any site. I could do this at any scale. So I wanted one as an example, but if I really wanted, I could go look at TripAdvisor and 100 other travel websites that have affiliate programs and say, like, what content are people creating? What content are other affiliates creating that are driving to these websites that are making them money? Now, I only speak partially one other language, Spanish, so I filtered this further down to just English content because I wouldn't even want to try to create content in another language. So this is basically now looking at only the top 1,000 pages that are driving to Booking.com that are English content. The top pages, interestingly enough, are all tools. Michelin has this route planner. I guess it's Edelweiss. If someone's German, I probably just butchered that. I'm sorry. But I thought this was really interesting. The top content, the most traffic content are tools that are driving to it, to these sites. Now, I don't figure everyone is going to go out and build a bunch of tools. I'm certainly not. Like, that's going to be a lot of effort, a lot of work. But there's plenty of other opportunities. There were literally tons and tons of sites that have great content. And what I wanted to show is you can make a lot of this stuff yourself easily. So I took the top 1,000 pages. We looked at tools. So these were some of the tools that are the most successful pages. About 1/3 of the top content was like where to stay, or the top hotels, best hotels, that kind of thing. It makes perfect sense because I'm looking at Booking.com. This is what they do, like, book me a hotel. So all the top content around it, or 1/3 of it at least, is mostly about like booking hotels. This is going to vary depending on the site you're looking at and kind of what they do. If I'm looking at like Trainline, that's probably all going to be, about trains, about different routes, about like different terminals. So this is going to change depending on your site. But for this one, about 1/3 of the top content was all like, where do I stay, best places to stay in different cities. I wanted to show how I categorize this. Now, I would say there's no right or wrong way of doing this. Everyone's going to have slightly different views, make slightly different categorizations. There's no one way of doing it. There's no right or wrong way. I just wanted to say this is how I viewed it as someone that's very new to the niche. So some of you are probably way more familiar and would do this differently. So we already saw like best hotels, but there were also like a lot of best places to visit, top things to do. So like this example, 25 best places to visit in Mexico. This is one of the most successful pages. I think anyone could come up with a list or look at, best places to visit in any city, kind of reuse a lot of that content. You're going to have a list of the stuff that's already kind of considered important that people probably want to do just by looking at competing pages. There were weekend getaways. A lot of people within a city want to get out of a city. It's not just people that want to go to certain cities and do things and stay there. People also want to leave from these major cities and know where, like, I can take my family for a trip to the beach, to the mountains. Where can I go away just for a few days for a little escape? And it was kind of the same with certain niches like skiing, beaches, cruises. Where do I go? Where can I go to ski? Where can I go to the beach? What are the best beaches? What cruises should I take? There's this comparison content where people are still trying to figure out, like, where should I go? What should I do? There was a lot of city versus city content. So in this case, Singapore versus Hong Kong. Should I go to New York or Seattle? Basically, people are giving their own opinions about or different things to do in each city, so that when people are doing this research, they can figure out which city do I want to go to based on the things that I like to do. There was a lot of cost sensitive content. So best places to go on a budget, or, cheap places to stay. In general, people are cost sensitive when they're traveling. They probably don't get but a couple vacations a year. They want to make their money go as far as they can. And then there were a lot related to like traveling with, for couples, for kids. There's actually some content that around baby moons, which I thought was really interesting because it was a term I had never heard of, but it's basically a vacation people take before their child is born. So they want to know, like, where can they go that, a pregnant woman can safely get around and make things easy for them, but just one final getaway before it's harder with kids. Then there's honeymoon. Where can I go backpacking? Where can I bring my pets? There's a ton of content around pets. People want to travel with their dogs. They want a hotel they can stay with their dogs. They want parks they can go to with their dogs. Pet-friendly restaurants. It was a crazy amount of content. People are obsessed with their pets. I'm not surprised. I have 2 cats. I don't travel with them typically, but I think dogs are probably easier for that. And people definitely want to know, like, where can I go that I can still have my dog? I can take them for walks. I can go eat. I can go to a bar. Probably nowhere right now, the way the world is, but maybe there are some places still. And you can see, like, this one article here, they actually have their view count on the screen. So 352,000 people have viewed this one single article. Now, how many of those click through the link to booking.com? I don't know, but there's probably a good chance that they're promoting a bunch of different things within this article that link over there. So that's an insane amount of traffic, an insane amount of opportunities. We saw tools already, so I'm going to skip this. Where to stay was one of the most popular topics, and people will break it down in different ways. I thought this was really interesting because you have luxury hotels, boutique hotels, cheap hotels. These are basically all the things people are looking for. They're actually searching for these things. So I want a fancy place to stay, or I need a budget place because I have kids and, this vacation's costing me a ton already. They want safe neighborhoods. They want neighborhoods where they can do certain things. So this example was a great breakdown of different options. So it's not just like, here are my top 10 hotels, but like, here are my top places based on certain individual characteristics that I'm interested in. And it's really useful content for people. There were terminal guides for airports. So like if I'm in Chicago, if I'm in New York, if I'm in London, how do I get around? Where do I eat? What are typical delays? This is really useful content for travelers. And then events. What is going on at the time that I'm going there? What things can I go do? Am I making a trip specifically to go to one of those events? You know, maybe there's a big food festival or something, or a concert that I want to go see. And that might be the reason the person is traveling. So event content, again, was really successful. Things to do. I love these lists. I view these every time I'm going somewhere. I want to know what my options are so I can make a plan personally. So I use these top lists all the time. You know, some of them will even have like route plans, like if I only have a day, what are the things I should do? If I have 2 days, what are the things I should do? If I'm spending a week in a city, you know, here's basically day by day, the things that might be interesting to me. And I love those lists. I use those lists personally a ton. Specific experiences. If you want to go on a naked bike ride in London, apparently that's an event. There are a lot of very unique and interesting things that are city specific or even country specific. You know, one that I guess just happened already, or maybe it didn't happen this year, I'm not sure. Oktoberfest in Germany would be a great example. You know, probably one of the biggest reasons people travel there that time of year is to go to that event. Maps was also really interesting. And one of the great things about this is you can get your like logo on it. People will be referring to it constantly as they try and navigate around a city, go to like locations where you specifically said. I used one of these in New Orleans to do my own like walking tour of a historic housing district. So like I was going around to all the different mansions and everything. And it was just one that this company made that like helped me plan my route and go around. And then that one even had like links on it to take me to the information about each interesting house. And of course you have where to eat, where to shop, bars to go to, what things should I buy when I'm visiting, what are popular gifts to bring back. All this content is really useful to people. It's the kind of things they want to know when they're traveling. And then I wanted to look at somewhat why this content is successful. One of the first things I looked at was the links. I have always heard the travel niche is really competitive. And if you're TripAdvisor or Booking, it probably is extremely competitive. But they're hitting more high-level topics, more topics that are going to be interesting to a lot more people, probably have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of visits to it. The affiliate content in this niche is still fairly well trafficked. I mean, you're looking at a lot of pages here with thousands of visitors. But one of the things I found interesting was that there's not a ton of links needed to compete in this content. I'm not saying it's none, because it's definitely not none. But this is, you know, a tenth of what I had expected to find. I thought there would be a lot more links to this type of content. And some of it is doing well and does have a lot of links to it. And we'll talk a bit about that in a sec, what they're doing to get their links. One of the most popular was the budget sensitive type content. So like coupon sites, Groupon, there's literally 1,000 coupon sites. How much impact they have, I'm not really sure. A lot of these I saw were no follow links, so they're not really passing the value. Um, but it's still interesting. There's tons of opportunity because every one of these sites is probably getting traffic also that they're going to send to you, and that can just like boost your own affiliate income. There's news and magazine sites. Every single city has their own newspapers, their own magazines. One of the most successful ways I saw people doing it was just being really useful. Having unique information that was actually being cited by other sources like news and magazines. And again, like informational references, it was the same here. So like one of the most successful pages in the entire list was this Tokyo Chipo thing, and it was all about this fish market, and they have these incredible amount of data about the fish market, like why you should go there, the fish you could buy, things you should know, the history of the market, the hours. And they were quoted again and again and again by like everyone, news, magazines, informational references, even other affiliate sites cited this specific resource, which was incredible. They did a really great job, and now I want to go to that fish market too. Again, I use this example because other travel sites cited this. I don't know how I can emphasize how important that is. Their information is so good that their competitors link to them, sent people away from their own affiliate site over to this site. They basically are so good that you can't not link to them. There were tons of links in forums on Reddit. People are asking all the time, like, where should I go? What should I do? And I don't know how, there were at least some that were affiliate, but I thought this was really interesting because in general, I would say this is a place you probably want to be monitoring if there's any like specific travel forums or subreddits. Because people are in there being helpful, telling people their own experiences, recommending places they should stay, places they should eat, things they should do in certain cities. This is a great place to, I would say, promote your own website and share your own experiences. There were some very niche specific. I mentioned pets, for instance. People were really enthusiastic about their pets, and they made all kinds of content about like traveling with their pets and everything. And I just found that really fascinating. But there's tons of opportunities out there. Women, I would say the main concern I saw in the content was all about safety. Where can I safely go backpacking as a single woman, for instance? You know, their main concern seemed to be safety, safe places to stay, safe places to travel, you know, alone, for instance. So there's opportunities out there because of concern for safety, because they want to know like where they're going to feel welcome, where their pets are going to be welcome. And then there were a lot of like very local links. I mentioned before magazines, newspapers, but one of the other things I noticed was newsletters, city-specific email newsletters going out, and podcasts where people were like interviewing people in their own town. I found that a lot of the successful ones for this were like people that lived in a certain city, like London, for instance. They are there, and they're known as like a travel resource for the city and like for places to eat and all that stuff. And they get on these local podcasts and they get a link that way, which is amazing because you have local links about the city that your content is about. So you can look for opportunities around, you know, podcasts, newspapers, magazines. Literally search like your city plus those, and you'll probably find a dozen opportunities. Reach out. I'm sure they're always looking for people to talk to, for resources to have an interesting conversation with. should be fairly straightforward. I think you just have to ask. And then photos. A lot of these travelers are not only doing this for Instagram or that kind of thing, but a lot of the affiliate sites are making their photos available to other websites. They're using like Creative Commons attribution with a link required. And what they're doing is basically getting other sites that to use their amazing photos and then link back to them, link back to their website. So I'd say if you're really good at photography, this is a great strategy. Make your photos available. Don't copyright them. Don't you know? A lot of sites are like, no, you're not allowed to use my photo. I took that. If you want traffic, if you want links, this is a really interesting way of doing it. Just make your photos available for free, let other people use them, but require them to link back to you. And there's like a couple of different Creative Commons licenses, I think version 3 and version 4, that require the link attribution for them to use your content. And then if they use it without the attribution, you can email them and be like, hey, this is, you know, my photo, and like it requires a link attribution, and you can get a link that way if they've already used your photo by just saying like, it's required, please add this, thank you. And then there was a lot of spam links, also some Web 2.0. I recognized a couple of the programs actually that were used because they kind of build links from the same websites over and over and over again. So it was kind of easy to identify different spam networks and programs that were being used. I would say don't do that. It doesn't really get you much in most cases. There are a lot better opportunities to get links. I also wanted to see internal links on these pages. These are links from one page on their website to another page on their site. What I found is there's a decent number of internal links. So these aren't typically small sites. You know, they're not like I made one page, which is common in some other affiliate niches. So like I just want like one long sales page, and that's my thing for the for this product. Like is I have this one thing that I'm pushing. A lot of these are making this related content. Again, like where do I stay? Where do I eat? Things I do, what events are going on. They're making a lot of pages around these specific topics, or like in many cases around a specific city. Tokyo is a great example. You know, it's not just like I have one page about Tokyo and another about New York or wherever. It's I have, you know, 50 pages about Tokyo and different things. So they really focused on a very specific location that they're familiar with. The content itself on these pages, these top pages anyway, was really useful. One of the things I noticed is it's almost exactly the same things that people are searching for, which in SEO, that's what you do. You literally look at what people are searching, you write content about the same things that they're searching. It's fairly straightforward. Just kind of group the different keywords and find out what people are interested in, and then like help them get the information that they want. And then when people search, they find you. So people looking, this is one specific site. I went through a bunch of different terms that people are searching around La Jolla Cove. So they're looking suites, which I thought would be like, you know, a suite for hotels, but it's actually a very specific hotel that's popular that people want to stay at. They are looking for other hotels. So they have a list of best hotels. They have, you know, a little bit of pricing info down there, which I think is great. Like this is, I think this could even be better by adding, say, like reviews or interesting tidbits about each one. You know, there's, even though this is one of the best performing pieces of content around La Jolla, I would say there's opportunities to even do better. And that's kind of the case with all this content. Look at what's out there, figure out ways you can make it better. Seals are a main attraction, you know, the little like creatures with whiskers that swim in the ocean. People want to go see the seals here, and so like they have places where you can take photos of them, where you can kind of like, they even have one place where you could kind of play with them, which I thought was interesting. Seems a little dangerous to me, but I'm kind of risk adverse on that stuff. Where to park, this is going to be for every major city. It's one of my biggest frustrations when I travel. I hate to get a car just because I'm like, I have no idea where to park, and hopefully the hotel has parking if I do get a car, but then if I go out somewhere, I'm like, I have no idea. So I prefer like public transport when I can take it, because parking is my nightmare. Beaches, where to go, where can I bike along the beach, where can I kayak at the beach. They're writing literally the same things that people are searching, writing sections of content. What's the address? How do I get there? They even have a guide which provides like details. If I'm coming from this place or coming from this other place, how do I get there? What are my driving directions? Kayaking, snorkeling, again, same things people are searching for, they're writing about. They're even dropping links to like, this is the place where you can go rent a kayak. This is where you can get snorkeling gear. This is where I can go pay for someone to guide me around on like a snorkeling tour. So they found other avenues besides booking.com, which I was specifically looking at, to get additional revenue streams by promoting certain vendors that they have a relationship with. And all that to say, they're really just talking about the same things that people search for. And that is the number one thing in SEO, write the content that people are looking for. That's it. It's fairly simple. It's fairly straightforward. You can look at a list of terms for a city and know exactly like what people are looking, what they want, what information they want. So you just give that to them. But one of the things I noticed is that certain content performs better than others. Of course, that's how it's always going to be. There can only be so many people on the first page. So a lot of the top content does kind of say the same thing. If you've got a list of best hotels, well, I maybe have 100 hotels in the city. So of course they're going to have like the same 10, 15, 20 hotels on all their pages. So how do you differentiate? How do you become better? How do you be better? How do you become more interesting for people? One of the ways was that people added their own experience and expertise. Now, this is in my home city of Raleigh. I looked at I think every top things to do list on the first page, and I think I might have found one that had this. This is called the Shimmer Wall, and it's like a must-see thing. It's like, this is 44 feet by 210 feet, or like, what would that be in meters? Like 13 by 70 meters of these little like 4-inch metal tiles that move in the wind. And so this big tree, when the wind blows, will look like the tree is actually moving in the wind. It is an amazing architectural feat. This thing is lighted with LED lights at night. It's an absolute must see in my opinion. And one of the things that when I'm showing people around town, I will always show them. I didn't find this, but on like one best things to do, top things to do list. And this is, a basically giant moving sculpture that is just absolutely incredible and blows people away. But because I'm here, I know that this exists. If I look at those lists, I'm guessing the people that made that content aren't from the city mostly, or they would absolutely know this. This is right in our downtown. Like you literally can't miss it. You can see this thing for like, miles around. And having your own unique experiences, your own expertise about a location will go a long way to show them what is unique and interesting. I do this when I go to other cities too. I can go look on Google or TripAdvisor and find like best places to eat, blah, blah, blah. But that's usually from the tourists. Like, I want to know the places the locals go. I want to experience the local cuisine, and I would go out of my way to go find that. And they also had their own photographs and videos. I mentioned this about like getting links, but this is also content. And this is kind of how we do it at Ahrefs. We have our own like artists draw up for every blog post. They'll have a featured image. For videos, we have our own images. It's just another way to kind of set you apart. You can have a recognizable style or not. You know, I think we try for that, but you don't have to. But this is just another way of making your own content unique. If you're just having videos, just having your own images is incredible. I tried to find an image of the shimmer wall that was like free for use, and I didn't find a single one. I bet if there was one in Raleigh, like people would be linking to it like crazy. So I actually took one of my own images that I now might make free to use if I ever do a site in the travel niche. But that's a good way of getting links, of making your content stand out, of showing people you experiencing these things rather than just talking about the things to do. And I kind of talked about this already, but they're writing a lot of articles on the same topic. So look at this one, for instance, where to stay in London. Look at what else they have. Best hotels in London, best hotels for families in London, best boutique hotels in London, cheap hotels in London, choice hotels in London, London with kids, things to do in London. They're really covering the city and kind of all the things that people are interested in. And then they're making all these pages and then linking that content together. Those internal links, like, they pass value. Each page will make your other pages stronger. And it's going to be helping them rank. They're really becoming topically relevant about London in this case, but this can be for any city. And the types of content that I mentioned that seems successful, you can make every one of those for like any city in the world, or every one of those for every city in the world if you have enough time. So just to sum up quickly, we looked at how to find the successful affiliate content based on like the links going to the different sites. Kind of looked at like why that's successful based on the links, the internal, like external links, internal links. They're adding their own content, their own expertise, their own experiences, and they're kind of looking at how else they can get links. What other opportunities are there? Again, like the local podcasts, newsletters, articles, magazines. Really, you have almost an unlimited amount of opportunities if you're focused in a specific area. And that was it.